same old government, only bigger and getting much bigger, and we don't seem to much care. So today, your world reframes your world. You want more government, you're going to have to put up more dough. Welcome everybody, I'm Neil Cavuto, and late last night, out of the blue, it just hit me like a ton of budget bricks. We need a ton more dough, fast. Since we refuse to shrink government, we've got to find a way to pay for that government. Because with apologies to Bill Clinton, the era of big government is not over, not by a long shot. Not after this latest clownery. And the deal that was supposed to trim spending ended up only increasing spending. By now, you know the score. They didn't cut a thing, so let me cut to the chase. A lot more than just rich folks are going to have to cut a check. Lots of checks, lots of folks. Because taxing the rich ain't going to cover this bill. Even with the $600 billion tax hike on wealthy payers over the next 10 years, that really works out to about $60 billion a year. Barely enough to keep the government running for a week. Like I said, they're not really cutting anything. I mean anything. Since the Democrats really don't want to touch entitlements, and the entire Congressional Black Caucus has sworn off even addressing Medicare or addressing long-term sustainable demands on Social Security that are now officially unsustainable. We have to find a way to keep feeding the beast, and just taxing the rich ain't going to satisfy his appetite. Now, even if you took all of their money, every last dime of every last rich person, 10 years out, you want to know the sad truth? Our debt will still be higher than it is now, even if you confiscated all their dough. You do the math right now with this deal. $60 billion in taxes, and exactly hacking away at a more than $1 trillion deficit. In fact, this latest deal ends up adding more than 300 billion smackers to that deficit. Bigger deficit. So, you have to move down the food chain. You have to move down to to the under 400 and 450 gram crowd. Way under. I'm thinking 50 and over, not $50 and around about 50 grand and over. Hike all their taxes, let's say conservatively 5%. All of them. And it still wouldn't keep up. It still wouldn't keep up with the spiraling growth out of control programs like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. And I haven't even touched defense. Don't get me going on defense. Just to sustain what we clearly don't want to cut, we would have to raise everyone's taxes, everyone's, a hell of a lot more than anyone can even fathom right now. Now, along the way, you could hope, pray for a business boom, like the Bill Clinton boom with the internet, to bring in more dough. But in this prohibitively high tax environment, I suspect you'd be waiting a long time, just my opinion. But then there is the not so subtle issue about how much money you would really get from their higher taxes anyway. Usually not as much as you think. The higher taxes themselves restrict growth, which ultimately restrict revenues, just as states like Maryland or countries like Her Majesty's England, which pushed higher taxes on the wealthy, only to end up getting less tax revenue, not more. Money tends to find cheaper homes. Now, maybe you can force it not to, chain anyone of means in this country to their desks in this country, toiling endlessly for the government in this country, but I suspect forced servitude in Washington isn't something that is going to help Washington or this country, but we can always try, right? After all, we've given up on spending. The only other option then is taxing. And seeing as we can't cut spending even a teeny bit, we have no other choice now but to tell each and every American, you're going to have to cough up a lot. Now, Washington is not telling you that, but I just did. Because I'm a nerd and I know the numbers. And trust me, they know the numbers too. So you like this beast you call government? Start feeding him fast because he's hungry, and he is getting hungry.